our holiday market, we've decided to do an interview with one of our more charitable projects at Concordia, the Emergency Food Baskets program that is run by Emma McLaughlin here with the Concordia Farmers Market. I'm Emma Campbell from the Concordia Food Coalition. So we're sort of the umbrella organization that funds and supports the farmers market under normal circumstances. So today we're going to talk about how the emergency food baskets came to be due to COVID-related situations and how the farmers market has reoriented itself in strange and new times. So without further ado, Emma, if you could give us a background how the project started.
Yeah, for sure. So it actually started off as a smaller program than it is right now. So I would say it was probably the week after COVID was declared a pandemic that we actually started it. At that point, I realized that my job description is to be able to provide Concordia students with access to good, sustainable local food. And with this new pandemic that just came about without any warning, I decided that people still needed food. And at this point, it was hard for people financially because of everything that was going on. So I decided to start this emergency food basket program. But at that time, it was just me with support from the Concordia Food Coalition as well, and some really awesome volunteers. But so I think it started the last week of March. And the first week that we did it, it was 100 to 150 people. And we were really happy with that, but it kind of has evolved from there. We contacted Innovation Jeune, which is a community organization in the downtown area right next to Atwater. And and we contacted them and they let us use their space, which was a really important thing back then, because at that point, it was so hard for us to be able to find somewhere that people would let us use. So and it kind of, it developed into a partnership between us and Innovation Jeune. We got help from People's Potato and Frigo Vert, and it kind of just became this community project that has developed and is still going on. So, yeah.
So just to give some context to a few of those names for people who don't know who People's Potato or Frigo Vert are, they are other food organizations that are student run at Concordia as well. So Frigo is community grocery store, solidarity grocery store. People's Potato was a free lunch that was provided to students. And there's a number of other organizations that have been helping out, including the Hive Cafe, which was the student-run, student-owned cafe on campus that, of course, gave us a hand with this project, but gave you a hand with this project. So can you speak to why it was and still is so necessary? What are the elements in our society right now under this circumstance that is making it necessary to continue with a program like this?
Yeah, so I mean, like I was mentioning, when COVID hit, although yes, there were some warning signs, nobody really knew that it was going to get to that level. And so when a lot of people lost their jobs, as we all know, I started it back before CERB came about. So there was no money coming in, and a lot of people were in really tough financial places. And there was a huge need. Like the first week that we did it, there was like 300 people who tried to sign up, and there was just like an overflow of people who needed this service. And as the months went on, CERB did come in and helped a lot of people, but there's still this like underlying uncertainty of a lot of people still have either unstable jobs or things obviously aren't still are not back to the way that they used to be. And we've noticed that the need is rising to this day, that it's really important for people, regardless of COVID. A lot of people in the city need food. I believe I don't want to say any wrong statistics, but it is a very high number of Montrealers who are food insecure. So yeah, it's something that needed to be addressed.
Speaking of numbers, can you tell us, according to the most recent numbers that you have, how many overall people and how many Concordia students the program is still serving?
Yes. So at this point, it's about 300 to 350 baskets that goes out every week. And about half of them would be Concordia students. So about 150 to 200 of the baskets go to Concordia students.
Okay, so these are individual
and a lot
baskets.
of them are,
yeah.
I was just gonna say a lot of them are for, like households and not just like a person. So it could also be serving more than just the number of baskets that we're giving out.
Amazing. Also, so what are the kinds of things that are found in the basket? Who are like the suppliers that you work with? What's the content?
So basically we work with a bunch of different suppliers, but our main ones would be Moisson Montréal. So they're basically like a big food distributor organization to a lot of food banks in Montreal. So they give us a lot of food, which is wonderful. But when I started this program back in March, I didn't want to stray too far away from the CFC's kind of mission and goal to give people good, fresh, sustainable food. So I contacted a few local organic farmers to order some food from them so that we could, in the same time, be supporting local farmers. So that has actually continued, which is really great. So every week we get a delivery from Caria Farms or Jardin Caria. And I believe, again, I don't want to say any false numbers, but last I checked, at this point, we had given them like $22,000. So not just us, of course, it was also our partner organizations. So it's really cool that we're able to also at the same time support local organic farmers and be able to give this good quality produce to people.
Awesome. Speaking of that actually goes right into my next question. What is the longevity or the future that you envision for this project? Is it something that you would see continuing even after the COVID measures are put to an end, or is it something that exists only because of a crisis and will only continue as long as there's a crisis?
Well, at this point, last I heard, we have enough funding to last us until about March. Obviously, we'll be still searching for funding at that time and try to continue it as long as the need is there. We are more of an emergency food basket, and we're thinking of hopefully being able to provide people with resources if this does end, on how to transition to another food bank if they still need food. But either way, we want to make sure that this isn't kind of just a Band-Aid solution as well, and that we give people resources, we give people tools and education on how to access good, sustainable food at a reduced price for the future, so that it's not just kind of giving people food, but also giving them tools.
That's beautifully worded. You also have another project that you tried starting, like that you did the first time. The first iteration of it was this past semester, that is coming to a close. very rapidly, and we can feel the stress in the students all over the place. But yeah, can you talk a little bit about the CSA baskets that you created with the farmers market? And
Yeah, so while the emergency food basket was addressing people who were in financial need, there was also other people who did have jobs and could spend some money. And there were also vendors who would usually come to the farmers market who were not making as much money because they didn't have these outlets to sell their goods. So yeah, I decided to start the CSA Baskets, which is community supported agriculture or sponsored agriculture. So yeah, so we have about 25 to 30 people who have signed up for the basket, and every second week we fill the basket with, again, local organic produce, as well as artisanal products from the vendors that would come to the market, and prepared food as well. So it's kind of our way to, again, address the lack of the market on campus as campus is closed. And it's also just a program that we've been wanting to start for a while with the farmers market. So it's kind of like a little push that got us started. So yeah.
I've seen the content. It's beautiful. The beeswax wraps in particular.
Yeah, they are nice.
So that is something that you would see a longevity to as well, or would this end as soon as COVID measures would come to an end and you would go back to normal markets?
No, I definitely, I want it to continue. Even when there's markets happening again, when the campus is back opened, I would love to see it continue to be something even bigger, and just a way to kind of gather a bunch of really cool products that people wouldn't necessarily buy or notice necessarily, but yeah, just giving people an opportunity to support local economy and get some good products.
Which is what people are doing currently at our holiday market as well. Our holiday market right now also includes many of the vendors that have participated in the farmers market in the past and in the CSA basket. And I believe there's a couple that may also be contributing to the emergency food baskets, if I'm not mistaken. So got a list. So on that note, I really hope that everyone is enjoying the market and that you're contributing to our local economy in a sustainable way with all of our producers and vendors. And I want to thank Emma McLaughlin very much for coming and talking about these baskets and these important programs that are helping to keep our students and community members afloat during these very weird times and this intense holiday season. So thank you very much for talking to me.
Yeah, thanks.